Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we're looking at the Saturday slate. We have 7 games tonight, tipping off at 7 p.m. It's looking like a pretty fun slate. We have a couple of high-scoring games, a couple of players that are out, which is going to impact some games, and we have a ton of superstars to pay up for. So let's not waste too much time. Let's get started. So, as always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process for updates, and check the description for any of the other cool stuff I have to offer. Starting off at point guard, we have James Harden is 11,000. Then you have Luka right below him. This game is going to be one of the more interesting and fun games to target on the slate. Harden coming off of a dud where he just put up 43 against Orlando, even though they won that game by 37. Uh, he's in a great spot to have another 60, 70 point outing. He looks like a great option if you can spend up for him. Luka Doncic looks like a great option. He's been fine. He's not been having crazy high scoring games recently. He had one 80-point game, but it's been a lot of 60s. Two out of the last three has been under 43. It's not great, but it was a tough matchup against the Sixers. Pretty tough matchup against Boston, where he still put up 61. And I feel like against Brooklyn, a team that plays really no defense, especially Porzingis, is still not able to give it a go. He looks like probably one of the best spend ups on the slate. Westbrook is 9,900. It's a great spot for him. You got all these guys in great spots, so going to be fun picking between them. He's been getting a lot of triple doubles recently. Triple double, almost had a triple double the game before that. Missed it by 1 assist. Triple double the previous game. I feel like if you want to have some savings from Harden or Luka and get similar ceiling, you can go to Westbrook. And then Kyrie is 93. I'd probably rather get to the top three just because I feel like they have 70-point upside. And Kyrie, now that he's kind of given a lot of the point guard duties to Harden, doesn't really have the same sort of upside, especially at 9,300. Like 50 out of him, 50, 55 could get 60, but I feel like Westbrook, Luka, Harden all have 70, 80-point ceilings. SGA is the guy that I'm not going to go to at 91. I don't want to go to him on a back-to-back. Price tag is now over 9,000. I'd much rather get to Jamal Murray, who is 8,800, playing absolutely huge minutes right now for the team with all the injuries. 38, 42 last game against Washington. He's been absolutely killing it with the shooting. Great spot against the Thunder here. Poor defensive team, and just with how well Jamal Murray's playing, I feel like he's going to have another high 40s, low 50s, maybe even mid 50-point outings tonight. So he's a guy that I want to get to. Ben Simmons, there's no Tobias Harris here, but this game isn't one I'm looking to target too much. Cleveland against Philly, Sixers could easily blow them out here, and then we won't see Simmons and Embiid for the fourth if that happens, which won't be fun. We have Donovan Mitchell, 8,500. I feel like there's a good chance that Mike Conley will be rested tonight, so it does look a little bit better for Mitchell at 85, but I still like a couple of other guys at the top. Then DeJounte Murray, it's going to be dependent on, currently DeMar DeRozan is questionable and Aldridge is questionable. If both guys are out, then he looks like one of the best plays. If both are in, especially DeRozan, if he's in, then he looks okay, but he's not as nearly as good of a play. And I don't want to play Colin Sexton at minus 7K against the Sixers. Lonzo's not, I'd rather go to Zion on the team. I really rarely get to like Lonzo. Conley, don't think he'll play tonight. Played like 34 minutes yesterday, back to back, coming off of a hamstring lengthy absence. I feel like he'll sit. Rubio is 6,200. He's gonna get a lot more usage without Beasley and a lot more consistent playing time. But with Cat in there and Edwards, he's still the third option, and I don't think he looks that interesting, even though the matchup is great. Clarkson is going to be viable tonight if there is no Conley, but I think I'd rather go to Joe Ingles. And for value, you have Quickly. We have Derrick Rose. Both guys should get good minutes without Peyton, who's doubtful once again. Patty Mills is 47, so he's not that interesting, even if they're missing a few pieces. And then you have $3,200 Jalen Noel, who could start here and see like low 20s in minutes. Could be a decent value play. Moving on to shooting guard. At the top end, it's Kyrie, Bradley Beal, SGA, all above 9,000. I probably like Kyrie the most, then Beal, and then I don't want to play SGA much tonight. 8K range, Brogdon and Mitchell. I think Mitchell looks better than Brogdon, but both guys I don't think I'll really get to. We have Terrence Ross, 63, Anthony Edwards, 63, Evan Fournier, 65. Fournier has definitely been kind of a tournament option. He's had some low floors and some high ceiling performances. The matchup is really tough, so I don't want to really get to him at 6,500. Terrence Ross is 63. Could get overlooked tonight just because he comes off the bench, and they are missing James Ennis, so that is another guy that does get like mid-20s in minutes, and Ross could definitely soak some of that up and get into the 30s or low 30s tonight. So for that reason, I think he's interesting in tournaments, but I'd much rather get to Anthony Edwards here. $6,300. He's going to benefit so much. His price tag should quickly rise in the 12 games that Malik Beasley is going to miss. Just because Beasley takes a lot of shots, high usage player. A lot of that's going to go to Edwards just because they don't have any other guy right now until D'Angelo Russell is back. That is going to shoot a lot on the wings. You have Cat in the paint, and he can also shoot some threes. But besides Karl-Anthony Towns, Edwards is going to be the guy that chucks up a lot of shots. Even though a lot of them might miss, I still like the chances of him hitting value when you know he's going to get over 30 minutes, probably get you like closer to 34, 35. It was an overtime game yesterday, but definitely flashed some of his ceiling with 45 DraftKings points, and I think that is going to continue in a matchup against Washington. Should be a very fast-paced, high-scoring game, and without Beasley, like you'll see his price tag go up to like 7,000 pretty soon. I would assume. And then in the 5K range, we have Harris, Clarkson, MCW, Seth Curry, Derrick Rose, Joe Ingles. I'd say Derrick Rose looks the best out of that group, followed by Joe Ingles if there is no Conley, and then Seth Curry, and then Joe Harris. Don't want to play 55 MCW. In the 4K range, we also have some decent value plays with Alec Burks is 46. He got most of his fantasy points last game in the fourth. So it's never fun when your player has no points or barely any points going into the fourth, and then he kind of, at least it's fun if you're watching the fourth, but pretty frustrating for most of the night if you played Burks last game. Lonnie Walker is 43 if they're missing DeRozan again. He looks okay as a value option. And you have Jalen Noel, could play here at shooting guard. And that's pretty much it. Small forward options, we have Ben Simmons is 87. Mentioned I don't want to get too much pieces of this game. So I will not have Simmons. I think Brandon Ingram looks good. That game is going to be one that I want to target, especially if the Spurs are shorthanded. We could get some value on the Spurs. And then the Pelicans, you know where the production's coming from. It's coming from Zion, Brandon Ingram. And recently it's been coming from Steven Adams. Michael Porter's price tag is going up a bit. His minutes have been really high the last couple games, 41 and 40. Still hasn't had an explosive outing, but he's been at least fine the last couple. His matchup is great if you wanted to go to him. He looks like one of the best mid-range options at 65. In the 5K range, you have Harris, Barrett, Dort, Barton, Ingles. I like Ingles the most, followed by, Barrett, but I don't have too much confidence in him. Then we have Will Barton, who I'd probably rather just go up to Porter at this point. In the 4K range, some interesting options are still Alec Burks. Bertans is 49. They kind of priced him up a bit, and he still kind of has a Q tag on him, so I probably won't get to him. And then you have Lonnie Walker, who looks fine. Danny Green should get some more shots without Tobias tonight. And then Kenrich is 38. He got some more playing time last game without Horford, and they're also missing Diallo. So looks like a value play if we don't get much more news on the slate. But we also have Dwayne Bacon, who should probably start in place of Ennis and see at least low 20s, mid 20s in minutes. And you have Keita Bates-Diop if there's no DeRozan again, could start in this one after he played pretty well last game. And that's pretty much it. So, small forward guy I like is Ingles, assuming that Conley sits, just because he'll move into the starting lineup, and the matchup is really solid for the Jazz side. Power forward, Sabonis is not going to be a play until his price tag goes down by at least 1,000, probably 1,500. Randall, I won't get to him either at 94, just because I like Zion more at 89. I like Brennan Ingram tonight. Then you have a couple of Q tags with Porzingis and DeRozan. We have Michael Porter. Looks solid at just because there's sandwich in between a lot of guys that might not play. 5K range, don't have a ton of interest in this range with Baisley, Roby, Bogdanovich, McDermott, who's 4,900. Don't have much interest in the 5K range at power forward. 4K range isn't looking much better besides Vanderbilt. I think looks like a really good option here just because should get some more minutes without Beasley. Got up to 34 in that overtime, so he played about 29-30 in regulation. And he's a guy that is a good fantasy player because he gets a lot of his shots near the basket. He's a good defensive player in getting some steals and blocks. And against the Wizards, a team that does turn the ball over at a high clip, I feel like 41 is pretty cheap for him. And the Wizards could decide to play a bit bigger here with the Vanderbilt and Towns in the front court, so that could help him get some more minutes tonight. Center options, you have a couple up over $10,000 with Vooch, Towns, Embiid, Sabonis, Jokic. I like Jokic actually probably Towns the most based on price, then Jokic, then Vooch, then Embiid, then Sabonis. In the 9K, you only have Randall. Probably won't get to him. I'd rather get up to one of the guys in the 10K range. I like Zion a bunch, 8,900. And then in the 6K range, we have Jakob Poeltl. If there's no Aldridge, he looks like a fine option. We have Horford at 64. Tough matchup against Denver, so I'm not really interested, especially because his minutes are never going to be like in the mid 30s, so he doesn't give you that much of a ceiling unless they're missing a couple of pieces. And then Miles Turner is 6,000 flat. He looks pretty good tonight. He's been getting more minutes, which is nice. The fouls are always a concern with him uh, because I obviously want to be on the court to get some fantasy points. But he's actually been pretty consistent in getting you some good scores, getting more rebounds, and actually been shooting the ball a bit more, 13 shots in 2 games in a row. It's a fine spot against the Knicks, a team that plays big in the front court with Noel and Randall. So it's a spot where they won't probably go to Sabonis at the 5 a lot when both Noel and Randall are in there. So that'll help Turner get some rebounds and hopefully make some more of a shot. So he's a guy that I like at center. Adams, another guy that I like just because the Spurs, if Aldridge is in, could start Aldridge at center, or they could start Poeltl at center. And Adams been just kind of consistent in his minutes, 28 to 30 if he's playing well, unless the game goes small. But I don't really think this one will be in much danger. He's a guy that gets a lot of rebounds, scores at the basket, so he's always going to be efficient with his shots and can get you some defensive stats as well. 53 is pretty nice for guys. It does give you 8x upside, maybe 9x upside. Value range, I'm not really looking at anybody cheap unless somebody's out here. So right now I like Turner just because he's pretty cheap and shown the ability to get up to like 35, 36, 37 minutes. And last but not least, it's Zion tonight. Expecting 50 out of him against the Spurs. Earlier this season, he put up 45, even though he shot just 31%. I really like the upside that he's going to bring. He's been super aggressive and he's super efficient because all of his shots come inside the paint for the most part. So he's always going to be efficient. You never really have to worry about him struggling with the shot. So that is it for the DraftKings side. Go ahead and touch on my FanDuel plays. Okay, FanDuel starting off at point guard. Zoom in here. You have Luka Doncic, 10-6. Then you get a big price drop to Russell Westbrook is 94. Westbrook is in such a great spot. I feel like you might as well take some discount on Luka and play Westbrook. If Porzingis is in, then that looks like a better decision. If Porzingis is out, maybe just get up to Luka. We'll see when we get that Dallas news. But I do like Westbrook. He's been a triple-double machine recently. Been a lot more aggressive with the shot and been a bit more efficient. So it does give you 60, 65 FanDuel point upside at only a $9,400 price. He looks better on FanDuel than he does on DraftKings. Simmons, not a guy I'll get to. I like Kyrie a bit. Still like Jamal Murray a lot. And then DeJounte Murray's 82. That will definitely be dependent on some injury news with DeRozan and Aldridge. Brogdon's at a good price tag, 77. I don't think Conley will play. Don't really want to pay $7,000 for Lonzo. Still like Derrick Rose, 57. And then we have like Rubio's only 51. That looks a lot better than his DraftKings price. Then you have Maladon coming off of one of his best games at 4,300. He looks better than like MCW than Compazzo. And that is mainly it. Like McLaughlin is like the ultimate pump play if you think he'll benefit with a Beasley out. He looks fine on DraftKings. But I think I'll still rock with Jamal Murray just with the way he's playing. The minutes upside, the matchup is just super solid here. So he's a guy that I want to get to still. Shooting guard, it's Harden at 10-9, followed by Bradley Beal at 96. I'd still rather get to James Harden. We have Mitchell looks better if there's no Conley at 8,300. DeRozan questionable if he plays. He looks pretty good at 76. Don't want to get to Colin Sexton. I like Edwards. I like Ross just for tournaments and some upside. Has a low owned play. Just without Ennis, I think he's going to get some more minutes. And he's a guy that's super streaky, but he does give you ultimate upside with tournaments. And he can absolutely catch fire from shooting. And he never will stop shooting, even if they're not going in. Quickly, he's up to 55, so I don't think I'll get to him. Seth Curry is only 47. He looks good. Burks is 46. And then Ingles is only 4,500. So he looks great. Dort is 42. I have some good value here at Fanduel at shooting guard and Lonnie Walker if they're missing DeRozan. So lots of good plays at shooting guard. Probably can narrow it down to like 7, 8 guys that look appealing. I'm still going with Edwards just because I expect him to really benefit without Beasley, and I want to jump on him before his price tag creeps up. Small forward, Brandon Ingram looks great at 7,700. Michael Porter looks like a great mid-range option at 6,200. 5K range, it's like Bogdanovich looks fine. Barrett looks all right. 4K range, you have Joe Harris is cheap. We have Josh Richardson is only 45. Barton is only 47. Justin Holiday's 45. So you got a ton of value here. Even like Dougie McBuckets is 44. So a ton of value at small forward in the 4K range. And then if you wanted to go up, it's for like Brandon Ingram at 77. Right now, I think I'll get to Ingram because I like the matchup and I like the price tag. Moving on to power forward, Sabonis is almost 10,000. He's been that price tag for a bit on FanDuel. He looks good. We also have good discounts on Randall and Zion and Kristaps if he plays. I like Zion the most, then Porzingis if he plays, then Randall, then Sabonis. Got a bunch of guys out here, and then you have good price tag on Aldridge if he's in. We have not a ton at this position, and then cheap end it's like Wagner, but I'd rather get to Vanderbilt at 44. O'Neal is 44. If they're missing Conley, he'll definitely get more usage and a little bit more minutes. And that's pretty much it, unless Aldridge sits, then Trey Lyles will be interesting. So right now I'll go with Zion. Last but not least, at center, Jokic, Embiid, Towns, all above 97. I mean, all look good. Vooch is a guy I won't really get to against Gobert. I'd rather get to Towns at the same price tag. So it's really Towns, Jokic, Embiid, then Vooch. 76 for Gobert looks good because he's going to be out there a ton against Vooch. Turner looks fine. I like him more on DraftKings when he's super cheap. And then we have Adams and Pirtle. Pirtle, if there's no Aldridge, he looks like the guy I'll get to. But I do like Adams, so I do like the Pelicans a bit tonight with Ingram, Zion, and Adams on FanDuel. Still leaves with 57.25 left, but that is pretty much it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I'll catch you all later.